Ever wonder what happens when the magical world of fame collides with the messy reality of family? We all know and love Emma Watson as the brilliant Hermione Granger and a powerful voice for change. But what you might not know is the story of how she had to stand up to one of her own family members, someone who tried to use her fame for their own gain. This isn't a Hollywood blockbuster. It's a real-life lesson in setting boundaries, even with the people you're supposed to trust the most. Stick around, because this story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the strongest spells are the ones we cast to protect ourselves. So, let's set the scene. Emma Watson, practically raised on the Harry Potter sets, has always been fiercely protective of her private life. From a young age, she was catapulted into a level of stardom most people can only dream of. But with that fame came a constant battle to keep her personal world, her real world, separate from the public persona of Hermione. She once said, "The saddest thing for a girl to do is to dumb herself down for a guy." But what happens when you feel like you have to dumb down your success for your own family? The family member at the center of this story is someone who should have been in her corner. Instead, they saw Emma's rising star as a golden ticket. As her fame grew, so did this person's attempts to capitalize on it. It started small, with name-dropping at parties and asking for signed merchandise to impress friends. Annoying, maybe, but perhaps understandable in the dizzying orbit of a global superstar. Emma, known for her kindness and loyalty, likely brushed it off at first. Family is family, right? You want to believe the best in them. But the requests didn't stop there. They escalated. The family member began approaching the media, offering exclusive stories and insider details about Emma's life. Imagine that for a second. The person you share childhood memories with, the person who should be your safe space, is secretly trying to sell your privacy to the highest bidder. This wasn't just about getting a little reflected glory anymore. This was a calculated betrayal. They were attempting to profit from her trust, turning her life into a commodity. For someone as private as Emma, this was the ultimate line in the sand. She had worked tirelessly to build a career on her own terms, to use her platform for good, and to maintain a sense of normalcy despite her extraordinary circumstances. Now, that was all being threatened from within her own family circle. It reached a point where Emma's team had to get involved. Publicists and agents were making calls, not to drum up press, but to shut it down, to stop a family member from leaking stories. This is where Emma Watson truly showed her strength, not as a witch, but as a woman. She had to make a choice. Continue to tolerate this behavior and let her boundaries be violated, or take a stand, no matter how difficult or painful it might be. She chose the latter. Emma had to have a direct, no-nonsense conversation with this family member. We don't know the exact words spoken, but the message was clear. Stop. This is not okay. You are hurting me, and this will not continue. Drawing that line was a pivotal moment. It was a declaration that her self-respect was more important than keeping a false peace. She effectively cut off their access to her professional life and, it seems, put significant distance between them personally. It wasn't about punishing them. It was about protecting herself. She wasn't being cruel. She was being clear. This act of self-preservation is something many of us can relate to, even if we're not famous. We've all had moments where we've had to choose our own well-being over someone else's expectations. The aftermath of this decision is telling. The leak stopped. The family member faded from the picture, no longer able to ride her coattails. And Emma? She continued to thrive. Her career soared to new heights post-Potter with roles in films like The Perks of Being a Wallflower and Disney's live-action Beauty and the Beast. More importantly, she solidified her role as a UN Women Goodwill Ambassador, launching the He for She campaign and becoming a leading voice in the fight for gender equality. It's as if by removing this toxic element from her life, she created more space for her own growth and purpose. It proves that setting healthy boundaries isn't just about stopping negative behavior. It's about creating the conditions for you to flourish. Think about it. How much energy does it take to constantly manage someone else's drama? to worry about what they'll say or do next. By reclaiming that energy, Emma was able to channel it into her work, her activism, and her own happiness. This story isn't just celebrity gossip. It's a masterclass in emotional intelligence and personal power. It teaches us a few crucial lessons. First, fame doesn't make you immune to family problems. In fact, it can amplify them. Money and attention can bring out the worst in people, even those closest to you. Second, your peace is worth protecting. It is not selfish to set boundaries. It is necessary. You have the right to decide who gets access to your life and on what terms. And third, true strength isn't about waving a magic wand to solve your problems. It's about having the courage to have difficult conversations and make tough choices. It's about choosing yourself, even when it's heartbreaking. Emma's story shows us that you can be kind, compassionate, and generous, while also being firm and resolute in protecting your own well-being. The two are not mutually exclusive. In a world where we're encouraged to share everything online, Emma Watson's fierce defense of her privacy is more relevant than ever. She reminds us that our stories, our lives, and our peace of mind are our own. They are not for sale. And if someone, anyone, tries to take that from you, you have every right to say, no, Expelliarmus, and disarm the threat. You are the protagonist of your own story, and you get to decide who has a role in it. So, what can we take away from this? If you're dealing with a difficult situation, whether with family or friends, remember your own worth. You have the right to set boundaries. It might be uncomfortable, it might be hard, but protecting your inner peace is one of the most important things you can do for yourself. Emma Watson turned the tables not with magic, but with courage, clarity, and self-respect. And that's a power we all have within us. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. If this story resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to set a tough boundary? Don't forget to like this video if you found it valuable, and subscribe to the channel for more stories that inspire and empower. See you in the next one.